A slap bass pops beneath the cafe marmalade. The philosopher orders wine and leans across the table. He doesn't have the answers, but he knows how to create a question sharp enough to cut through every fable. The ones with all the answers tend to close the door, sealing off the world behind a confident wall. But the one who asks the question cracks the floor, lets the light fall through the narrow hall. I've met the men who speak in declarations, pronouncing truths that shimmer hard and bright. But give me the one drowning in good questions, who sits with the uncertainty all night. Judge a man by what he asks, not what he claims, not the trophies on his shelf or the titles to his names. The question is the window, the answer is the wall. Questions keep you moving, answers make you stall. Ask me something real, ask me something deep. Ask me what I'm losing, what I'm trying to keep. Judge me by the questions burning in my chest. That's the only kind of judgment I'll suggest. Voltaire sharpened questions like a fencer's blade, aimed at kings and clergy and the smug elite. He didn't need their answers, the asking was the trade. He laid the complacent world down at his feet. The funk is in the inquiry, the groove's inside the search, not in the destination, but the way you lean and ask. The bass line has no resolution, just a lurch toward the next question, the next unfinished task. Judge a man by what he asks, not what he claims, not the trophies on his shelf or the titles to his names. The question is the window, the answer is the wall. Questions keep you moving, answers make you stall. Ask me something real, ask me something deep. Ask me what I'm losing, what I'm trying to keep. Judge me by the questions burning in my chest. That's the only kind of judgment I'll suggest. The saxophone spirals upward on an unresolved note, leaving the listener leaning into wonder, that unfinished phrase inside your throat. That's not failure, that's the mind refusing to surrender. The greatest minds were great because they asked before they answered. They questioned what was masked. My daughter asked me why the sky goes dark at noon during the eclipse, and I had no clean reply. We sat together under that consumed moon, and the not knowing made us feel more alive. What do you want? What breaks your sleep at 3? What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Questions like these cut deeper than philosophy. They're the questions peeling back the veil. Judge a man by what he asks, not what he claims. cafe empties out. The candles burn to black. Cafe empties out. The candles burn to black. Vol. The sun goes down, the lights come up, pouring the nectar in a porcelain cup. The cities are set, the streets are the aisles. We're walking for miles with rehearsed little smiles. Powder the face and straighten the tie. Under the purple of a jazz funk sky, the script is written in the steam of the street, and we're just moving to a preset beat. It's a quiet vibration, a cue in the air, waiting for the spotlight to find us right there. We memorize lines we didn't even write, in the hazy glow of the midsummer night. All the world's a stage, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi drama, in this melody, and all the men and women may be players in the light, catching their cues in the middle of the night. Yeah, exits and entrances, a funky kind of flow. We're just here for the duration of the show. First act's a whisper, the last is a sigh. Watching the scenery just passing us by. One day you're the hero, the next you're the fool, trying to remember the theater school rule. We change our costumes, we change our names, playing these sophisticated soulful games. But the mask is heavy and the pain is thin, looking for the person that lives deep within. You know, it's all about the timing, the entrance, the exit, the 7 acts we play before the curtain falls. Are you playing the part, or is the part playing you? Don't get too caught up in the applause. It's just a role. The stage stays, but the players always move on. Make your scene count, baby. That's the groove. Exits and entrances. That's the show. Staring at the horizon, where the blue meets the gray. 1,000 miles of road, stretching far away. The mountain looks so heavy, the valley looks so wide, and you're standing at the threshold with the rhythm tied inside. Your boots are still clean, and the map is still new, waiting for the perfect wind to carry you through. But the distance is a giant, standing tall and still, while you're looking for the power and the iron will. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the soul. Stop trying to swallow the story as a whole. The summit is a ghost, the finish line's a dream, until you find the pulse inside the moving stream. The journey of 1,000 miles, baby, don't you know, starts with a single step in this lo-fi flow. Just a little click, just a tiny spark, the very first movement in the middle of the dark. Yeah, a funky kind of courage, a jazzy kind of start, the first small beat of a brave and open heart. The shadows, don't measure the rain, don't let the long road weigh upon your brain. Just lift up a foot, let it find the dusty ground. The music starts to happen when you move around. 1 inch of progress is a victory today, chasing all the heavy sets some days away. It's the syncopated stride, the momentum in the bone, the only way to reach a place you've never known. You know, we get so paralyzed by the scale of things. 1,000 miles? It sounds impossible. So we sit, we plan, we wait for a sign. But the road doesn't move, you do. Forget the mile 999. Just focus on the space right in front of your toes. The hardest part isn't the distance, it's the decision to leave the porch. Take the step. The rhythm will follow. Journey of 1,000 miles, baby. starts right here. Walking down the boulevard, neons turning blue, looking at the faces, searching for a clue. Why the world feels jagged, why the edges bite. Maybe it's the rhythm we're putting out tonight. If you're throwing shadows, don't expect the sun. If you're cold to everyone, you'll be the lonely one. It's a simple frequency, a broadcast from the soul. The way you treat the neighbor is the way you stay whole. It's a quiet vibration, a boomerang in flight. What you send into the dark comes back in the light. The math is easy, the logic is clean. Living in the spaces in between. Do not do to others what you don't want for you. And there's low-fi frequency, keep the spirit true. It's a golden circle, a jazzy kind of love. The same old wisdom that the sages saw. Yeah, what goes around comes back in the flow. Treat him like a king if you want the gold to show. If you want a little kindness, give a little first. Quench a thirsty spirit before you feel the thirst. Don't plant a bitter seed and hope for something sweet. The harvest is waiting just further down the street. It's a sophisticated balance, a delicate art. The mirror in the window is the mirror in your heart. Respect is a currency, love is the beat. Keep the harmony steady and keep the soul neat. You know, we're all just echoes of each other. If you shout into the canyon, you hear your own voice. So why give out what you wouldn't want to take? If you don't want the sting, don't give the bee a reason. It's not a restriction, it's a blueprint for the groove. Check your output, baby. You don't want for you. And there's low Everybody's climbing, looking for the peak, searching for a mountain, the power that they seek. They want the highest tower, they want the golden crown, but they forget the rhythm of the way the rain comes down. The ego wants the summit, the ego wants the sun, but that's a lonely race that can never quite be won, because the peaks are brittle and the peaks are always dry, watching all the life and the spirit pass on by. It's a quiet vibration, a pull in the bone, finding a wisdom that is purely its own. It doesn't fight the mountain, it doesn't fight the stone. It finds a little hollow where the moss has always grown. Water flows to the lowest place, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, that is the source of its great strength, making it real. The power of the yielding and the way that you feel. Yeah, the gravity of grace, the wisdom of the deep, gathering the secrets that the high places can't keep. Flowing low, where the power starts to grow. The valley is a basin, the valley is a heart, where the tiny little trickles find a place to start. By seeking out the bottom, by seeking out the floor, it turns into a river, it turns into a roar. Softness is a weapon that can wear away the rock. It doesn't need a hammer, it doesn't need a shock. It just stays humble, it just stays down, until it wears the majesty of the ocean like a gown. You know, we're all taught that up is the only direction. Up the ladder, up the hill. But look at the water. It doesn't struggle to rise, it embraces the low ground. And because it goes where no one else wants to be, it becomes the most powerful thing on earth. The ocean isn't at the top of the world, it's at the bottom. And everything eventually finds its way there. Stay low, stay strong. To the lowest place, baby, to be a straight line to the sun, a perfect record where the grooves just run. No scratches on the surface, no hiss in the air, just a long sweet melody we'd always share. But the needle skipped a beat in the middle of the night. The shadows started dancing with the candlelight. We're tripping on the carpet, we're missing the cue. In this smoky little room, just me and you. It's a heavy vibration, a shift in the tone, a feeling that we've never ever really known. The harmony is jagged, the rhythm is tight, trying to find the music in a losing fight. The chords of true love, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz degree, it never did run smooth, it never was a breeze. It's the friction in the soul that brings us to our knees. Yeah, a bumpy road, a syncopated heart, that's how you know it's real right from the start. Static on the wire, honey, salt in the kiss. We didn't plan for a moment like this. Arguments at midnight, silence in the dawn, watching all the easy vibrations be gone. But a diamond needs the pressure, a diamond needs the heat. The most beautiful song has an offbeat. If it was all sunshine, if it was all gold, it'd be a story that's already been told. You know, people want that polished Hollywood kind of love. No bumps, no static, no noise. But that's not where the soul lives. The soul lives in the scratches and the I'm sorry and let's try again. Shakespeare was right. If it's smooth, it's probably not moving. The jaggedness, that's the proof, that's the groove. The course of true love, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz degree, it never did run smooth, it never was a breeze. It's the friction in the soul that brings us to our knees. In this lo-fi space, we find the flow through the highs and the jagged little lows. Stay in the rhythm, baby, let it roll. Never did run smooth, but it's amusing. The city is full of experts shouting in the street, building up a mountain got an answer for the stars, an answer for the rain, running like a crowded high-speed silver train. But I'm sitting in the corner with a candle and a pen, watching all the certainty fade out and back again. It's easy to be clever, it's easy to be loud, but it's hard to see the sun when you're standing in a cloud. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the light, distinguishing the morning from the middle of the night. The ego is a liar, the ego wants to win, but the real conversation is where the why begins. To know what you know, baby, that's a solid floor. But to know what you don't know, that's the open door. And there's a lo-fi rhythm in this jazz funk light. True knowledge is a beacon in the middle of the night. Yeah, draw the line, draw the circle, find the edge of the blue. True knowledge is the mirror looking back at you. There's a power in the silence, a beauty in the I don't know. It's the only kind of soil where a human's gonna grow. If you fake the map, you're gonna lose the way, walking through a desert in a simulated haze on your little island on the sandy shore. But respect the deep blue ocean and the mystery in its roar. It ain't a sign of weakness to say the light is dim. It's the only way a dreamer's ever gonna learn to swim. You know, wisdom isn't about having all the files. It's about knowing the size of your own library. The I know is your compass, the I don't know is your horizon. If you confuse the two, you're just lost in the static. Draw the boundary. That's the most sophisticated groove there is. There's a lo-fi rhythm in this jazz funk light. True knowledge is a beacon in the middle of the night. Know the map, yeah. Know the map, yeah. And there's a lo-fi space we find the clear, leaving all the hollow vibrations here. Keep it honest, baby. Let it roll. That is true knowledge. The map of the unknown. I've been stacking up the pages like a tower in the rain, collecting
collecting all the data just to fill a hollow brain. A library of shadows, a mountain of the known, but the seeds are sitting idle in a garden made of stone. If you read the map but never look at where you stand, you're just a weary traveler in a simulated land. It's a heavy set of luggage, it's a labor lost in time, searching for a reason without a rhythm or a rhyme. It's a quiet vibration, a gear that doesn't turn, a cold kind of candle that refuses to burn. The weight of the ink, the silence of the pen, waiting for the spark to make us feel again. Learning without thought is labor lost, baby. In this lo-fi rhythm we pay the heavy cost, honey. But thought without learning is a perilous way, a ship without a compass in a stormy gray bay. Yeah, it's a delicate balance, a jazzy kind of truth between the dusty old books and the fire of our youth. Now you're spinning in a circle, thinking you're a king, building up a castle out of nothing but a string. Pure imagination with no ground beneath the feet, a dangerous delusion in the middle of the street. When you think you know it all but you haven't seen the light, you're walking on a wire in the middle of the night. Without the foundation, the tower's gonna fall, a beautiful vibration that means nothing at all. You know, input is just noise if you don't digest it, and logic is just a ghost if you don't inform it. Don't just be a sponge, don't just be a dreamer. Find the bridge, the place where the facts meet the why. That's where the real groove lives. Keep your head in the books, but keep your heart in the thinking. Let it roll. Labor lost, so perilous. Labor lost, so perilous. telephone wire between the frozen ground and the center of the fire. I'm sitting at the crossroads of a velvet night, watching the shadows dance in the flickering light. Is it better to endure the static and the stings, or to cut the cord and let go of all these things? A quiet oscillation in the back of the mind, looking for a piece that's getting harder to find. It's a heavy vibration, a shift in the air, between the I'm here and the I'm not there. The pendulum swings on a funky little beat, while I'm looking for the rhythm of the city street. To be or not to be, baby, that is the question. In this lo-fi groove, in this jazzy congestion, to stand in the light or to fade into the blue, to keep the vibration or to start something new. Yeah, the ultimate riddle, the ultimate why, underneath the purple of a jazz funk sky. Slings and arrows are just notes on a page. We're all just players on a smoky little stage. Do we carry the weight of the sea and the stone, or do we step out into the great unknown? It's the shuffling off in a syncopated way, the pause in the middle of a rainy day, the sleep and the dream and the trouble it brings, the secret vibration of a million things. You know, it's the hesitation, the space between the yes and the no. Is it nobler to suffer the noise, or to take arms against a sea of troubles by just letting go? That's the groove. That's the mystery. The choice to exist in every single beat. Congestion, to stand in the light or to fade into the blue, to keep the vibration or to start something new. In this lo-fi space, we find the beat between the silence and the melody. Just breathe with the rhythm, baby. Let it roll. That is the question. To be, to be. That is the question. To be, to be, to be. To be. To be. The room is spinning with a million words, like a frantic flock of hollow birds. Everyone's an expert, everyone's a king, telling the world about everything. They got a theory for the moon and the sun, a long-winded open-ended story for everyone, building a mountain out of empty air, shouting at the silence because it's there. It's a restless frequency, a desperate hum, beating the rhythm on a hollow drum. But the deeper the water, the less it'll splash, while the shallow stream makes a golden crash. Those who know do not speak, baby, in this lo-fi groove. It's a mystery. Those who speak do not know, honey, spending their breath like it's easy money. Yeah, the real wisdom stays in the dark, a quiet fire, a silent spark. The ones who know, they don't say a word. Isn't something you have to prove. It's a steady vibration, a soulful move. The man in the corner with the heavy eyes isn't part of the hustle or the clever lies. He's seen the horizon, he's touched the edge. He doesn't need to stand on a public ledge. Real power is a secret you keep inside, where the ego and the chatter have nowhere to hide. You know, some people think if they stop talking, they'll disappear. Like the noise is the only thing keeping them real. But the ones who've been there, the ones who really see, they know that language is just a fence around the truth. When you finally find the heart of the matter, you don't need a megaphone. You just need to breathe. Silence is the highest frequency. Listen to the quiet. Those who know do not speak, baby, in this lo-fi groove. It's a mystery. Those who speak do not know, honey, spending their breath like it's easy money. They don't say a thing, yeah, just a quiet no. Stay in the peace. In this lo-fi space we find the gold in the stories that are felt but never told. Keep the secret, baby. Let it roll. The ones who know, keep it on the You're moving the pieces on a heavy board, looking for a win, looking for the sword. You got the city in the palm of your hand, the biggest shadow in a crowded land. It's the muscle in the arm, the fire in the eye, watching all the rivals just passing you by. You call it a victory, you call it a win, but the real revolution hasn't started within. It's a heavy vibration, a frantic race, trying to put a a shifting tide, and there's nowhere for a restless heart to hide. Mastering others is strength, I know, and there's a lo-fi rhythm, let the ego go. But mastering yourself is the real degree. That's true power, the only way to be free. Yeah, a funky kind of discipline, a jazzy kind of soul, taking back the pieces to make yourself whole. In the storm in the middle of the chest, putting all the angry little ghosts to rest. It's the no to the impulse, the yes to the calm, finding the healing in the internal balm. The hardest battle is fought in the dark, without an audience to witness the spark. Taming the tiger that lives in the mind, leaving the chains of the habit behind. You know, it's easy to tell someone else what to do, to exert your will on the world outside. That's just muscle, that's just noise. But can you sit in a room alone and be the master of your own thoughts? Can you govern your own spirit? Because if you can't, you aren't a king, you're just a loud prisoner. True power. True power is a quiet thing. It's the internal groove. Mastering others is strength, I know, in this lo-fi rhythm, let the ego go. But mastering yourself is the real degree. That's true power, the only way to be free. True power, yeah. True power, yeah. In this lo-fi space, we find the throne in a quiet kingdom that is yours alone. Master the self, baby. Let it roll. That's the true power. Master yourself. Master yourself. We're living in a world of fuzzy lines, hiding all the truth behind the neon signs. We call a shadow a gentle shade, dressing up the mess in a masquerade. We use the pretty words to dull the sting, but a hollow bell is never gonna ring. Walking through the static and the heavy smoke, waiting for the moment that the silence broke. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the air, looking for the substance that is actually there. The labels are broken, the ink is all blurred, searching for the power of a single word, the beginning of
wisdom, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, is to call things by their right names at last, letting all the ghosts of the almost pass. Yeah, call it fear, call it love, call it truth. Beyond the illusions and the fires of youth, the beginning of wisdom is calling it right. You can't fix the engine if you don't know the part. You can't heal the spirit or the heavy heart. If you call a poison a sweet little wine, you're just gonna stay on a crooked line. Precision is a mercy, a light in the dark, the only way to capture the original spark. Strip away the tinsel, strip away the lace, look the reality right in the face. You know, we spend so much energy avoiding the word. We say it's complicated when we mean I'm scared. We say I'm busy when we mean I'm lost. But the ancient ones knew. Words have weight, words have power. When you finally say the name, the monster gets smaller and the light gets brighter. That's the first step, the very first step.
Three shadows dancing on the concrete floor, heading down the avenue, looking for more. Just a casual stroll in the afternoon light, between the morning coffee and the edge of the night. We're talking about the weather, talking about the news, walking in our different kinds of city shoes. But if you keep your eyes open and your spirit wide, there's a secret university sitting right inside. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the air, looking for the wisdom that is standing right there. And the way they speak or the way they hold the line, there's a little bit of gold for the soul to find. When you walk with three, baby, don't you see? At least one of them is your teacher naturally. And there's a lo-fi rhythm in this jazz funk street. There's a lesson waiting in the people you meet. Yeah, a master of the moment, a professor of the soul, helping you to find the pieces that'll make you whole. Maybe it's the one who's got the steady hand, showing you the beauty of the way they stand. Or maybe it's the one who's getting it all wrong, teaching you the blue notes to avoiding your song. The good points to follow, the bad to let go. That's the only way a human's gonna grow. You don't need a blackboard, you don't need a pen, just the honest company of your fellow men. You know, some people think you need a degree to learn, a fancy hall, a heavy book. But look at the person to your left. Look at the person to your right. One of them is carrying a key. Maybe they don't even know it. But if you're watching, if you're really listening, class is always in session. Stay a student. That's the groove. When you walk with three, baby, don't you see? At least one of them is your teacher naturally. And there's a lo-fi rhythm in this jazz funk street. There's a lesson waiting in the people you meet. In this lo-fi space we find the school, beyond the ego and the golden rule. Walk a little further, baby, let it roll. Teacher, one of them is your teacher. The fog is lifting from the city street. The noise is fading with a steady beat. Looking through the static, looking through the haze, finding the silver in the middle of the maze. No more second guessing, no more what if games, calling every shadow by its real and hollow names. The mind is a mirror, clear as the night, reflecting the world in a steady silver light. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the core, not looking for a reason to be afraid anymore. The rhythm is certain, the melody is true, finding the center in everything you do. The wise have no doubts, standing in the sun, knowing that the battle is already won. The humane have no worries, resting in the grace of a kind and steady heart in a frantic place. And the brave have no fears, walking through the fire, lifting the spirit just a watching the world go by. Kindness is a fortress, goodness is a shield, walking through the harvest in a golden field, with nothing to hide and nothing to prove. You find the elegance in every single move. No heavy burdens, no shadows on the chest, giving the weary heart a little time to rest. It's the peace of the virtuous, the calm of the deep, watching the promises that the Spirit's gonna keep. You know, wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about being sure of what you see. Benevolence isn't about being weak. It's about having nothing to worry about, because your conscience is clear. And courage is just what happens when you finally realize that the fear was the only ghost in the room. No doubts, no worries, no fears. That's the masterpiece. Steady, let it roll. The wise, the humane, the brave, the soul's own rhythm. The room is full, but the air is thin. Static on the wire, letting the chatter in. A mountain of sentences, a river of talk, running in circles on the city walk. They're terrified of a moment of hush, painting the silence with a heavy-handed brush. Just a nervous vibration, a hollow sound, trying to keep their feet off the quiet ground. It's a restless frequency, a desperate hum, beating out a rhythm on a shallow drum. Too many syllables, not enough heart, tearing the melody all apart. Wise men speak because they have something to say in this lo-fi groove. At the end of the day, fools speak because they have to say something in this jazz funk world. Just a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, it's the weight of the word versus the noise in the street. The golden silence makes the rhythm complete. doesn't need a crown. He lets the heavy truth just settle down. A measured breath, a deliberate phrase, cutting through the static and the neon haze. One diamond word in a desert of sand is worth more than a choir across the land. You know, some people talk just to prove they're still there. They're scared of the echo, scared of what they might hear if they just stop for a second. But the wise know that silence is the canvas. And when they finally speak, every note counts. Don't just fill the air, baby. Make it mean something.
Because they have something to say, and there's a lo-fi groove at the end of the day. Fools speak because they have to say something in this jazz funk world, just a whole lot of nothing. Something to say, something to say. There's a lo-fi space, we find the gold in the stories that are felt, not just told. Listen to the quiet, baby, let it roll. Have something to say, don't say nothing at all.
The mountain stands with an iron chest, putting the thunder to a heavy test. It doesn't move, it doesn't sway, watching the centuries crumble away. But the wind is a ghost with a velvet hand, carving the stone and the desert sand. The hammer breaks on the stubborn floor, but the whisper finds the open door. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the soul, between the jagged edge and the perfect whole. We think the power is a closed fist fight, but the moon moves the ocean in the middle of the night. The soft overcomes the hard, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, the gentle overcomes the rigid every single time, like a river finding rhythm in a soulful kind of rhyme. Yeah, the power of the yielding, the grace of the flow, that's the only way a spirit's gonna grow. The winter branches stiff and proud, shouting its strength to the heavy cloud. But the first ice storm makes it snap and fall, while the willow bends and survives.
it all. It ain't about muscle, it ain't about bone. It's the fluid heart on a golden throne. Flexibility is the mark of the wise, the light that's hidden in a dancer's eyes.
You know, we spend so much time trying to be tough, building walls, locking gears, standing our ground. But a wall just waits to be broken. Water, you can't break water. It moves around the obstacle. It fills the empty spaces. It wins because it doesn't fight. It wins because it's patient. Be the water, baby. The groove is in the bend. The soft overcomes the hard, baby, don't you see? And there's a lo-fi rhythm in this jazz funk degree. The gentle overcomes the rigid every single time, like a river finding rhythm in a soulful kind of rhyme. And there's a lo-fi space, we find the sway, watching the rigid things just fade away. Stay supple, baby. Let it roll. The soft